Hello, hello! Happy Friday the 13th. Today, we're going to be reviewing a movie also called Friday the 13th, because it is Friday the 13th. So we're going to talk about Friday the 13th because it's Friday the 13th. So, it's Friday the 13th. Part 1. I guess I'll call it Part 1 because it's a remake that is its own thing. So, yes. Friday the 13th, the original. What is it about? Well, if you know anything about Friday the 13th, you probably know what it's about. It is about a camp that has gruesome murders on it, and people are trying to figure out who's killing all these people. And, it's not Jason. Jason's not alive in this movie. Well, technically, he's not alive in this movie. It's Jason's mom. Jason shows up at the end, but it's weird. It was more of a dream thing, and, that kind of goes weird into the sequels, and, like, the sequels kind of mess up weird because of this weird Jason thing at the end. But a lot of the sequels don't really follow continuity that well. I mean, some of them do, but it's kind of like, how's Jason back most of the time? He's just back, man. And like, he looks so different from Part 2 and Part 3 that he doesn't make a sense. Even though I'm pretty sure those are like not that far apart continuity wise. But anyway, why is this one so good amongst the other 11 Jason movies? Well, this one is what started it all and kind of helped, like, make the slasher genre what it is. This is like the beef and potatoes of the slasher genre. This is like basically what people think of when they think slasher genre. I feel like they would think this or Halloween. Maybe Nightmare, but I think people think more of the silent killer in slashers. Freddy's kind of like one of the only exceptions that really is a talker when he's killing people. And that's why people like Freddy, because he's funny. But yeah, this movie doesn't have Jason in it that much, besides for the end where he jumps out from the back of a canoe and fake drowns the main character. But yeah, Mrs. Voorhees is the killer in this movie. If you haven't seen this movie, and you didn't know that, what have you been doing? Like, I feel like everybody should know that, because it also means you haven't seen Scream, which, and when they talk about that in the opening scene of Scream. So, I don't know why are you watching this? What interests you into watching this review of a movie that you haven't seen or probably won't see at this point anyway? Because this movie's been out for years and stuff. But anyway, Mrs. Voorhees is played by Betty Palmer, who basically did this so she can get a new car. But she's really good in this movie. I feel like she's probably one of the best actors in this movie. Kevin Bacon's also in this movie, like young Kevin Bacon, and he gets an arrow through the neck. It's probably one of the more memorable kills. I think it's only memorable really because it's Kevin Bacon. I don't know if it was somebody that we didn't know that much, if it would be memorable. I mean, it's a cool kill, but it's kind of like the least gory kill, I feel like, but that might be due to the MPAA getting involved, because Tom Savini did the gore effects for this movie, and a lot of them got cut out because it would have been X-rated if they didn't get cut. Yeah, he did his job so well, it would have been too risque type thing. And that's something that happens with a lot of this series. A lot of horror in general is that either it's too good or it's too shitty. But yeah, Tom Savini, if you're into gory movies, you've seen his work before. He did Dawn of the Dead and countless other gore effects in other movies. He is probably one of the best gore effects people around. And he was even in like Dawn of the Dead as a character, so you should know who he is by his face if you've seen that movie. But yeah, this movie is good, but like you gotta keep in mind it's also a slasher movie type thing, and like so there's some bits that kind of drag. But overall, for slasher movies that are kind of low budget and kind of like made cheaply, this is a good movie. Because I've seen other slasher movies that were low budgeted and made pretty cheap that are really bad. And I think they just had talented people working on this movie that got it to be what it is, and a good director and a good writing, good script overall. I mean, Sean Cunningham was the main force behind this movie, and like that's probably why. And this movie is pretty much why Friday has been able to go on for so long. If it wasn't for this movie, I don't think Friday would have really gone on much longer. I mean, if this movie sucked, this movie would probably the series would probably be like maybe 2 or 3 in and done. But I mean, I know Jason picks up, but it's kind of like this movie's like here. The rest of the series is kind of like here with kind of waves, depending on the movie. Also, like all these movies are very similar, and it's easy to get confused which movie is which if you haven't watched them in a while and you're just kind of casual about this series, because Jason kills a lot of people, and like this is one of those series that has like highlight moments, but like not like a highlight movie per se. Like there's not like one movie that's like this is the ultimate Friday movie. It's like highlights from each movie that make like awesomeness of Jason a thing. I think the only thing that comes close to making Jason awesome is probably part 4, but we'll get to that in the future. For this one, this one's a bit more subdued, a bit more mysterious. The mystery is more of why are people dying instead of like we know Jason's there. We don't know why people are dying, we just know that people have been killed there before and some kid drowned there, and so yeah. And you think when you meet Mrs. Voorhees, she's just a nice old lady, but nope, she is fucking killing people because they are doing naughty stuff. Because the original camp counselors that sort of saved Jason were too busy fucking in the cabin or whatever. So yeah. This movie, this pretty much kick-started the genre as a whole. I mean, I know there are movies beforehand, but like this kind of like got people who had low budget movies take a swing at the slasher genre because they kind of realized they could do the same thing, even though some previous slasher were kind of low budget, but because this moved it out to the woods, you could go ultimate low budget now with this genre, because you can just go out to some random piece of woods and film something and nobody's gonna know where you're at filming, unless you film at like a really famous forest or something on a famous path. Nobody's gonna really know that. Like, you can go film at your neighborhood park and probably do a slasher movie if you really wanted to. And that's how this movie kind of impacts the genre of slashers. That's why it pretty much stuck around, because people were making stuff like it, and guess people just like Jason killing people. But yeah, this first movie was pretty good. I would recommend it if you've never seen it before. If you haven't seen it before, I'm surprised, because I don't know. What have you been doing if you're interested, why have you not watched it yet? Type thing. It's kind of like, I'm kind of surprised people haven't seen Star Wars either. But this is more understandable, but if you're into this type of stuff, this is like the essential thing to be watching. So yeah, watch it if you haven't. Watch it again if you haven't seen it in a long time. It holds up decently well. It kind of drags a bit, but if you're used to slashers, it's kind of like the regular pace. If you're not used to slashers, you might have to adjust to your sensibilities a bit, especially if you're one of those people that only watches like really modern movies. If you don't really watch anything that's like older than yourself, you might need to readjust yourself when you rewatch this, because this is made in the 70s, like 78, 79, I think. I forget when this was made. Flashed it on screen at some point. But yeah, this movie is really good for what it is, and it helped make the genre what it is. So I think this movie owes its respect in that way, and I feel like most of the actors did pretty well in this movie. The effects are really good in this movie. Even though they were cut a bit, they were still pretty good from even what they had left. So yeah, check it out if you haven't. If you have, what do you guys think about it? Yeah, do you like this movie as much as other people do? Do you think this movie is overhyped at all? How do you think it compares to the rest of the series? Do you think this is one of the better movies in the Friday series, or do you think it's kind of okay? Do you like it less because Jason isn't really in it? Let me know. I would be interested to hear some opinions on this movie, because the only opinions I ever hear on this movie are people that are really into horror stuff already. So let me get some fresh takes in here. Let me know what you guys think. But anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Peace out. Three-day weekend! Yeah!